This video is actually a continuation from a talk that I published on Tuesday evening. I suggest if you haven't seen that one, go back and watch that now. It's going to make everything a little bit more clearer of what we run through today, okay? That talk was about the foot and ankle, how building a strong, stable base can best influence your running gait, best influence your running cycle, mitigate injury, improve performance, improve propulsion through the running gait, and essentially how building a solid foundation for any form of exercise is a fantastic place to start, okay? I had some questions after and following up from that initial talk. What I would say, keep an open mind when watching these videos. Don't think it's aimed at runners. I'm not going to gain anything from this. It's absolutely not true, okay? Strong, stable feet are the platform of any athlete, powerlifters included, gym goers, CrossFit, anyone who's got that strong, stable base is going to be able to propel themselves a lot better, okay? Moreover from that, the descriptions and the sensory input that I'm going to discuss is also very, very important in all of athletics, really. You're going to find out a bit more about that now. So don't try and take the lessons, not just what I teach. Try and think, okay, if he's saying this about running, maybe it can be applied to my sport. How can I apply it to tennis? How can I train hand-eye coordination? These sorts of things. Don't try and think for yourself. Don't ever just take information and oh, this guy's a runner. There is going to be masses of crossover in any form of athletics, and the lessons and everything the top athletes know and learn, from Lewis Hamilton to Andy Murray now, they're going to be doing similar things. One's a car driver and one's a tennis player. Interview them, check their BMI, check their diet. Lewis Hamilton's a vegan. Check all of these plant-based guys. It's going that way. Even Arnold Schwarzenegger now is a plant-based advocate, which is phenomenal. So all of these lessons and philosophies, they're transferable. And what I'm going to discuss today and how to strengthen the foot and ankle is just as relevant to strengthen your spine, okay? So what I'm going to discuss about the foot and ankle is you can absolutely strengthen it with running during a normal run. Obviously, of course, you're on the road, you're hitting your mileage. Of course, you're going to strengthen your intrinsics, the medial longitudinal arches. You're going to get a lot of activation through the plantar fascia and the aponeurosis. You will strengthen just by running, okay? But many people can't get out on runs whenever they want. Many people have families, many people have jobs, many people have external pressures. And what I try to teach as much as possible at clinic is, okay, if we can't get this done, well, what can we do? What can I do from home? How can I best get my body primed for my next run? And that's what we're going to go into today, okay, priming the body. And the work that I'm going to show through the foot and ankle can be done at home, absolutely. And it can be done potentially the day before a long run or the day before one of your track sessions, whatever it may be. Get this work done a day before. This is about accessibility. This is about adaptability. I can't run, bang, what can I do? How do I prime my body? So we were talking about strengthening the foot and ankle, and basically just to start off, obviously barefoot for me, guys, always in barefoot. I just want you to manipulate your feet. So simple. Look, inversion, eversion, inversion, and just repeat and just see how that feels. Once you've done a few of those, just step. Okay, now, which bit of my foot is in contact with the ground? Can I wiggle my big toe? Can I keep the rest of my feet down? Can I play the piano with my toes? So just getting into the habit of feeling the contact of your feet on the ground. I discussed the communication and that ability of the foot to manipulate itself over the ground. You've got many little joints and bones in the foot, so use them, roll them around. How does it feel? Going back to the philosophical element, it's the same thing of what I do in clinic with patients all the time with their spine. So this isn't just running, spinal, back pain, it all blends in, okay? We're all discussing the same thing, which is playing with processing. It's the only thing any of us are doing is playing with the processing and how the brain interprets various things, and this goes there, okay, how do I adapt in this position? It all transfers. So the same thing with the feet, with runners, look. Inversion, eversion, plantar flexion, hold. How can I hold there? Am I going off balance? Am I weaker right versus left? Go in and explore. I call it exploration at clinic. As I've just said, the same thing with the spinal structures. Watch, okay? Bend over and touch your toes, but go super slow. How does my spine feel? Where is the tension? Where am I pulling? If I shift right, does that make it easier? Does that take pressure off my spine? Okay, can I keep going? Okay, maybe that's a little bit uncomfortable. Breathe, stay there. Does it release if I hang out in this position at all? Okay, and then back up. How does that feel? How do you feel differently from before doing that exercise? Okay, now let's go all the way down. We're going to touch the toes. Okay, fantastic. Now let's see how the hamstrings feel. Do they feel elongated? Do they feel tight? Are they sore? Okay, maybe they're sore, but maybe that's good pain. Maybe this feels great for the hamstrings, this elongation. Maybe it's painful, but it's good pain. So there you go. You're now perceiving pain in a different way. Pain's not always bad, okay? If I'm feeling a little bit of discomfort here into the hamstrings, that actually feels fantastic. That actually feels really relieving. So there, we're into a pain science discussion. How can you enter these discussions of pain perception with your own patients? There's an entry point. The hamstrings at this bottom position, they're sore, but it feels amazing to be there. Yeah, it feels like it's opening up, it's relieving. So what this is doing is teaching your brain to understand different sensory signals, and it's giving it more information. So there's something called the primary somatosensory cortex in the brain, and it's essentially a map. Okay, so it creates an image, a 3D image in the brain of all of your hands, your fingers, your toes, your ankles, your thighs, every little part of you is mapped out in this region. And if you're not giving it the good stuff, if you're not giving your central nervous system that stimulus to build these structures and this map, it's not going to be a very good map reader. It's going to get lost, and you're going to get lost. And 9 times out of 10, it ends up with you crashing, and you're going to be in pain. So by applying this philosophy of building that primary sensory cortex, of building that map, your brain is going to be able to read and figure out challenges a lot easier. Imagine you were lost on the motorway at night and you had a terrible map. It was, you know, one picture of a house and it was sort of a couple of trees. You were never going to be able to navigate. You're going to get lost. And it's the same with the brain. If we're not feeding it, your motor output is going to get lost. It's going to be weak. Those signals are going to be dampened down. If we've got a big full map and there's rivers and there's lakes and there's mountains and we can orienteer ourselves over that, we're going to get from A to B, okay? If the map isn't sufficient, you're going to end up crashing, maybe hit one of those trees, okay? Probably had a few patients do that in the past, but build your map, build your cortical map. Spend time learning about your body in these positions. Same goes for a plank. Again, I was discussing with another client yesterday, plank. If you're used to it on the forearm, go up from the hands. Same thing. Just because you do press-ups from here, why can't you plank from here? It's the same thing. It's the same methodology. Okay, now I can hold there. Can I translate my shoulders forward? How does that feel? Can I take a leg off? Okay? So what you're doing is setting yourself challenges. Don't be held into barriers and don't be held down by dogma. Learn for yourself, and that's what this is about. Learn for yourself. Okay, going back to strengthening the feet. Same philosophy, okay? So we're learning, we're applying, we're going into these awkward positions through the ankle, okay? Going into eversion, we're rolling out. Can we change the shape of our femurs? Can we externally rotate when we come up? And I internally rotate my femurs. Automatically, I can really feel my medial arch starting to burn and engage. And these are the primary sort of load absorbers when running. So we've got strong medial arch, we're going to land, bang and toe off. Land, toe off, mid-foot, toe off, okay? So these sorts of practices are going to mitigate a lot of injuries in runners, okay? At the extreme end of runners, you can get a lot of stress through what's called the metatarsal head, resulting in periosteal reactions. You can get metatarsal head stress fractures. As we discussed, you can get plantar fascia issues, hallux rigidus, your big toe gets really stiff because each time I'm toeing off, I'm applying stress, So why not, when you get home after a run, take your toe into extension. Take your toe into extension. Okay, stay away from, as I've said, hallux rigidus. Stay away from hallux valgus. Don't let your joints and structures take all that load, and you're not giving them any TLC. You're not giving them any different stimulus. If you don't change, you don't adapt, okay? I think it was Einstein that said the idea of doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome is the source of stupidity, or it's the source of something, and I couldn't agree more. If you're going out and doing the same thing and expecting a different outcome, be prepared to be disappointed, okay? It's not gonna happen. So, there we go. That's what you would start. Just rocking around in here, into some awkward positions, okay? Take your body into some positions it isn't used to. Going into the ACL, tibial anterior translation, tibial displacement. Look, but if I'm used to being in some awkward positions, if I'm used to challenging in these areas, and I'm a rugby player and my leg gets stuck, but I'm already there and I can adapt, okay? It's about filling your map with potential to get out of trouble, okay? It's the best way you're gonna get out of trouble is by learning to adapt and manipulate your body, okay? So, play with your toes. Something that's really fascinating as well is when you're gonna start to wiggle your toes. Watch my little finger here. So the map is set up in what's called a topographical arrangement, which basically is, going back to the map, topographical, the parts of your body that are almost in relation to each other will be next to each other in the map. So for example, both arms will be next to each other. Your little intricate fingers and toes will be next to each other. So don't be surprised if you're trying to wiggle your toes and your hands want to play a tune as well. It's fascinating, this stuff, okay? When you go into the neuroscience and the brain stuff, it's fascinating when you learn how it works. And what it does is open doors, it opens windows, it smashes through barriers, and that's what I'm discussing when I'm saying, don't watch my videos and think, I'm not a runner. What Isaac's talking about is irrelevant, it's not true. Take something from it, take that adaptability from it, take that work things out for myself, take note-taking down. How did that session feel? Tune into your own body. As we discussed, how does flexion feel in my spine? Does it release if I stay there for 10 minutes? 10 seconds? Probably not 10 minutes, unless you're a yogi. Extension. How's extension? Is it compressive? Is it sore? If you don't give your brain the information, don't expect it to be putting out what you want. Don't expect the motor output to be good. Don't expect to be resistant to injury, because you haven't given the time to feed it. It's like a plant and you're not watering it. It's gonna die. You're gonna get horrible apples. So don't let your brain produce rotten apples, okay? Work, cross-train. Do the most of your miles running, of course, but there's no reason why you can't be of an evening. Some active recovery, look, dorsiflexion, plantar flexion. And this is going to strengthen these arches, this is going to strengthen your intrinsics, this is going to basically increase the communication between your foot, knee and hip. So if I am in trouble, I'm running, I'm in a trail run and there's a branch, I can offset. My ankle's used to being here, so in the heat of battle, when I go over, that pathway is sharp, bang, and I'm off and I adjust and I can go. So this is, a lot of this stuff is going to mitigate a lot of injury and a lot of unnecessary hurt. Because what you've done is you've created your map, you've given your brain enough information. So, first things first, maybe 5 minutes of this, yeah? 5 minutes of this. Maybe you're testing out some different squats. Just take your knees through. Oh, okay. Who says that a squat has to stay like this? Just because someone wrote the book on squats doesn't mean that this isn't just as achievable, just as applicable, yeah? Then, once you've had a play around with your toes, your feet and your ankles, I want you to go to the wall. And this is specific for runners now, okay? All of this work I want obviously to be done in barefoot as well. We're going to start with soleus. So plantar flexion, soleus, gastroc complex. Gastroc inserts above the knee, so you want to do it in an extension. Soleus, you just basically flex the knee a little bit. So we're here, in this position, and we're pressing. Just ease the way down. Ease the way down. 5 or 6 reps. Relax. Gastroc, press up. Can I do it with some internal rotation? Where does that change the force through my foot? Is my 5th metatarsal now taking more load? Absolutely. How does that feel? Am I overwhelming the structure or is it coping? External rotation of the femur. Now I'm getting more of the medial head of gastroc. Go in and explore. Don't blindly calf raise. Let's get to 12. Slow it down, learn. Learn the process. Learn the feeling. Hold at the top. How long can you hold on your tippy toes for? Aim for 10, beat it next week. So, it's gone on for a long time now. However, I hope I've just shared a little bit of insight and a little bit of additional information as to how the body can adapt and adjust in awkward positions. As such, probably missed out some things that I wanted to discuss. You can always message me, ask me. I'm hoping to include some more videos for you guys. A lot of my questions come from Instagram, so if you can ask me on Instagram, that's great. Gives me something to discuss and talk about.